What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the All In Show. Before you tune into this very special episode, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, share it, like it, show some love, show some support. I got a very special guest. Wow, I'm butchering my words right now, but it's okay.
It's all the caffeine.
It is the caffeine.
You're
It's
too
like
excited. You're ready to go.
Exactly. It's like that 600 milligrams of caffeine
Right.
I already had. It's like, all right, well, I'm not close to a hospital, so I don't know. I hope you guys know CPR.
There has to be a daily limit of caffeine. I don't know what it is, but there has to be a threshold where it's like if you have more than this, you might die.
So it's I think the cap is what they say is like 1,000 to 1,200 milligrams of caffeine before you actually see some significant
Issues. So you're at 9.99.
Yeah, I'm pushing it every day. I work, I'm pushing it.
I like it.
But thankfully, I work in a place where I'm a bunch of people who can save my life. You know,
Right.
so that's always
awesome.
something to be grateful for.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Because I asked one of the doctors one time, I was like, what is the cap off for caffeine?
Yeah.
We all drink caffeine,
Oh, for sure.
all of us. And I see some providers who have like 3 Celsiuses. I'm like,
Wow.
okay, we're in this together now, kind of thing.
Right.
And they're like, well, it's like, they gave me a number. I was like, all right, cool. I was like, all right, if I go down, I'm relying on you.
You know where to put me.
Exactly.
I like it.
He tries to tell me, he's like, just be careful. Jokingly, he's like, all right, well, I don't know what he said exactly at the time, but
Yeah.
it was a funny little banter we had. But yeah, we're reaching the caffeine limits. Anyways, I got a very special guest today. He is the owner of Shiver and Shake out in Pueblo West. If you haven't been there, you should go there because those milkshakes, are they?
Yes, we do shakes and shaved ice, all the crazy stuff. The best you will have in all of Colorado.
It looks, I mean,
Thank
you got a
you.
cheesecake on
Yeah.
top of the cheesecake
Oh,
milkshake.
yeah. We got all the crazy stuff. Don't tell your doctor you come to see us.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have got my Shiver and Shake here in Pueblo West. We opened about a year and a half ago now. Although I've been out of food trucks since 2017 in the area. So we've built a great, group of people that have followed us over the years and opened our first store. So it's
I
been
love
fun.
it.
Yeah.
This is Andrew, by the way. He's the owner. If you don't have diabetes, you will.
Diabetes in a cup is what people say.
Oh my
But,
God.
everything in moderation. Everything in moderation, right?
Yeah, just don't go there consistently.
Yeah, maybe once a week. In the summertime when it's really hot, maybe a few times a week.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
do
yeah.
a lot of shaved ice, too. I know a lot of people know us for our ice cream and our milkshakes and those type of things. But I actually started shaved ice. That's kind of how I started out of a food truck here in Pueblo West in 2017. And then back in 2022, I opened a second truck, and that was a milkshake truck. And so we opened the store, I combined them. But the shaved ice is really good as well. It's refreshing. We have some sugar-free options. So it's not all bad for you.
Nice. Sugar-free is a good option for
Oh, yeah,
people.
for sure. Definitely.
I like shaved ice. Shaved ice is like really good on a hot day.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, and in Pueblo, we can get really hot.
Oh,
I
my
mean, it
God.
gets absolutely insane sometimes. So, yeah, the shaved ice is super refreshing. Very similar to what you'd have in Hawaii. A lot of people say, it's like a Hawaiian shave ice. I'm like, yes, it's very similar. Finely shaved ice. And, yeah, just have a lot of fun with it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Just not the yellow kind, right?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. I just introduced a yellow snow
Oh, shit.
to my menu. So it's a really fun one. It's lemon and vanilla. And then we put like a little... I found it like a dog lollipop. It's like a sucker, but it's in the shape of a dog.
Nice.
Put them in the yellow snow.
It's not the bad kind.
Not the bad kind. You can eat yellow snow at Shiver and Shake.
Perfect. I
Only
like to
there.
hear that.
Yeah, it's fun. So yeah, anything that's, off the wall, something that you're not going to find at, your regular ice cream shop. We like to do the fun stuff.
Yeah. When you mentioned, it's funny
Yeah.
you mentioned that dog thing in the shaved ice.
Yeah.
I went to your guys' store the other day and I saw right there at the cash register, you guys do similar to what Starbucks does with like the pup cups.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. I like, when I graduated college, I actually went into my first position was kind of like a retail sales manager and a department store very similar to Dillard's. At any rate, I learned there, how important it is to have something at the register for people to kind of grab real quick when they're checking out. Like, oh, look at that. I can grab that too. Starbucks does a good job of that. If you notice some of your favorite shops you go to, you're there for this, but then you get to the register, you're like, oh, they have this, to go on the side as well. So I think those like quick purchases at the register are important to have. So it's kind of something I've been trying to roll out recently, especially as we get into the holidays. People are looking for like stocking stuffers and different things like that. So been working to get some of that out there.
That's smart.
Yeah,
Dude.
for sure.
I like
Definitely.
that. How's your week been so far?
Not too bad. Let's see. Today is Monday, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh my God, it is.
It is Monday. We're just a few days away from Thanksgiving. It's been pretty good. Rainy day yesterday. I'm glad we didn't get a ton of snow. It was rain. Usually this time of year it could be snow. It would have been a lot of snow. It's been pretty good. Went to the gym this morning. I love going to the gym and starting the day. Got my kids all ready. They're out of school this week, but got my kids dressed and ready for the day. But yeah, it's been a pretty good day. Not too bad.
Where do you go? What gym do you go to?
In Pueblo West, Snap Fitness.
Snap?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I've been going there for some
I want to
time
get that
recently.
guy on, the owner on the podcast. Matt. Have you met Matt before?
Yeah. His mattress shop's a few doors down from ours.
It is, yeah.
But yeah, he's kind of met him in passing. Super nice guy.
Yeah, he's a very busy guy.
Well, yeah, I know you kind of get involved with business. I know he's opening franchises and stuff, so even more so. But that combined with kids and
That's fair.
married and family and it's a lot to juggle at one time.
Yeah.
When I was thinking back now, being married with 3 kids and thinking back to when I was younger and single, like it's a different life. It's just totally different. And so, you get really busy. That's for sure, but in a good way.
Yeah.
So-
Were you living like a bachelor life?
No, I wouldn't say so. Let's see. I graduated college in 2011. And got married in 2012. So I was very into, getting education, getting a good job, getting married. I was very much, wanted to start a family pretty young. We got married when we were both 21. So very young, had kids young, and I don't regret anything. So no, I wasn't like a single bachelor for a long time, but things really change when you start having kids and then you throw in business and everything. And yeah, it's been great.
I love that. Mm-hmm. Where did you guys meet at?
We met in school in South Carolina.
Okay.
And then we got married, 2012, and then moved out here in 2013. We lived in Springs for a while, actually. We were up there for 3 or 4 years. I was a banker up there. I did a lot of, business loans and things like that. And then we moved down to Pueblo. I said, it might be fun to kind of start our own thing. And so that's kind of how I got into the food truck. Got a food truck here locally. And then that was in 2017 and then ran that for years and years before we opened the store. But yeah, it's kind of a quick history of what brought me to the area and kind of how we got to where I am now.
Yeah. Are you from
South Carolina?
South Carolina?
Yeah, born and raised. Big Carolina fan, Panthers fan. I'm from kind of the upstate Greenville, Spartanburg area. Spent a lot of time going down to the beach in Charleston. And,
Oh, hell yeah.
the food is out of this world. I mean, every time I go back home, I'm like, I need some Southern food. That's the one thing. Now, Pueblo has some awesome green chili. Love green chili. Can't beat it. But other than the green chili, Colorado's not really known for, crazy food or like Texas, you think barbecue and, different parts of the country, like, Boston area, they got lobster and seafood. Like Colorado's not really known for food. And I'm very much a foodie. So, when I go back home, I definitely enjoy finding some good spots.
I love food too. I love Southern food. Southern food's so good.
Can't beat it.
What's one of your favorite Southern foods when you go back home?
Fried chicken.
Can't beat it?
It's classic. It's cliche, but you just can't beat some good fried chicken. That's for
fair.
sure. Although I found, I love local spots. I love going to anywhere local and, the fun places. But there's a chain that I love. They got one up in Springs, Dave's Hot Chicken. It is so, if you've never been to Dave's Hot Chicken, woo.
I've heard some good things about it.
It's so good. You order like a 3-piece tender. You're like, I get some chicken tenders. I mean, they are massive.
Damn.
But yeah, really good. Great spice level, some good sauce too. So, one of my favorite chicken spots. That's for sure.
Can't compare to South Carolina.
I have some local spots back home I really like. There's some good barbecue spots. When we go to Charleston, I like some shrimp and grits. There's some good seafood places. Just kind of depends on how I'm feeling, but it's hard to find a bad place. That's for sure. But there's a few places around Colorado that I've come to enjoy. So I have a really good Indian place I like to go to. And then obviously some good Mexican spots.
Yeah.
So Yeah.
Grits is really big in the South.
I used to eat them a lot more than I do now, obviously. But yeah, get some grits in the morning. Some people put cheese in them. You can put sugar in them. You got to put salt in them. That's for sure. But yeah, grits are solid. Shrimp and grits are really good too.
I'm not a big seafood guy.
No, you don't
No.
like shrimp?
I don't like. It's just the smell that turns me away.
Ah,
And I've always
makes sense.
been. And then I tasted a few like seafood dishes, and I'm like,
Right.
ooh,
you could hold your nose.
yeah.
You wouldn't smell it.
That's fair.
Yeah, but then you couldn't taste as well
Yeah,
because you taste a lot with your nose.
yeah. I
I
tried
mean, not
shrimp
literally,
one time.
but if you can't smell it, it doesn't taste as good. Kind of off subject, but back in 2020, did you happen to ever contract coronavirus? No.
No.
Wow, you're
Yeah.
one lucky guy. Because
Have
I
you?
did.
You
Yes,
did?
I did. Well, I say that to say I lost all sense of smell and taste for like
No shit.
10 days, as a lot of people did. But I remember sticking my head in a bag of coffee beans, and I was like, I smell nothing.
That's insane.
It was crazy. It was absolutely insane. I was like, because I heard a lot of people contracted it, and they said I can't smell or taste. It's like whatever. And then I got it, and I was like, oh my word, they're not lying. It was terrible. I would say I got pretty sick too, like like flu-like symptoms, all that stuff. But honestly, one of the worst parts about it was losing the sense of taste and smell. I was like, what's the point of eating?
But then you can't taste anything, so you can eat anything.
I know, but then honestly, like there was no like. I started eating things for texture, like the crunch.
Okay.
Right? Because if you can't taste it, I don't know. At least for me, it was like, you just ate to eat. I don't know.
Yeah.
Taste is such a big part of it. I was saying that to say if you can't smell, you generally can't taste as well. So
No,
next
that's
time
a
you
good
eat
point.
seafood, if you plug your nose, it might help. I don't know.
I've done that
try
with
it.
a few things that
Yeah.
I don't like. It doesn't
Still
work for me.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not. I don't
But
know.
I've worked around a lot of people who have COVID. I've heard a lot of stories about COVID. Never got COVID. Knock on wood.
Yeah.
But
That's awesome.
yeah,
Good for
I
you.
know. I'm like kind of,
You must have a great immune system.
maybe that's what it is.
Yeah. You're like the superhuman immune system potentially.
I hope so. I don't want to ever contract COVID.
Nobody does. It was not fun.
I mean-
it was not fun at all.
Like a general sickness, I'm okay with.
Right.
Occasional nausea, vomiting. Okay, I can deal with that.
Now that we're talking about this, I was going to say it's been a while since I've gotten sick,
Really?
but now that I say this, just wait.
Knock on wood.
Just wait.
I know.
I hope not.
I wish your health the best. It
Thank
sucks.
you. I appreciate that.
I hate
No-
being sick,
Nobody likes it. It's not fun. That's for
especially when
sure.
you're like just throwing up and
Oh,
you
man,
feel
that's
like
the
crap.
worst. That's the worst.
It's like, damn.
Yeah. Not fun.
Thankfully, I can start an IV on myself.
Oh, there you go.
Give myself some fluids.
Right.
Not saying I have any of that stuff, but
Get some caffeine that way.
oh my god,
know.
I would probably
If
make
that's
it
possible.
worse
Right.
or over caffeinate myself to where I am not sick anymore.
Hey, if you could do it that way, I'd sign up for that.
That would be a great
Yep.
solution to this medical situation
Right.
we
Right,
got
right.
going on. I feel like doctors should tap into this.
You know what? We might have something going. I don't
We
know.
might have the next cure for COVID.
Caffeine.
Exactly.
I don't know.
So you grew up in South Carolina.
Yeah, I grew up in South Carolina. And then, I met my wife. We moved back here to Colorado in 2013. And we were in Springs for 13 to 16 and then moved down here in 2016 to this area. But yeah, I still go back home quite a bit, probably 3 or 4 times a year.
Nice.
Try to go to a Carolina Panthers game. I'm a big Panthers fan myself. So we're finally having a decent season so far.
Yeah.
I'm not going to put too much faith in it, but it's been a long time since we've been good. So I'm hoping.
I don't watch football that much.
No.
No, even for the Broncos. I mean,
No.
I hear about the games. So far, they're doing good.
Broncos are doing really well this year. Are you a sports fan at all?
Not really.
No? Okay.
Yeah, I don't
That's
really
cool.
watch too much sports.
Yeah. You play sports? No. What do you do?
I just work and I do the show.
Okay.
And I edit videos.
That's cool.
Yeah, I
Those
mean,
are
I
fun
go to
hobbies.
the gym
Yeah.
and I try to stay in shape.
Sure.
But those are probably the 3 big things that
That's
are
cool.
in my life right now.
Yeah. Sports aren't for everybody, that's for sure. But man, if you find a good game, I have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
That's
Have
for
you been
sure.
to the Pueblo Bulls games?
Yeah. We actually partner with them. We'll bring some. We'll do like an ice cream setup in there every now and then. And
Okay.
We'll serve some ice cream and stuff for the fans. And the games are a lot of fun.
They are.
Have you been then?
I've been to a few of those games.
Yeah, those are fun.
Yeah.
Every now and then they'll have a good fight break out.
I like the fights.
I feel like that's most of the reason anybody goes to the game. Anyway.
Exactly.
They want to see some fights. I went to a game last year, and the fight was so bad. Like the refs were trying to break it up, obviously, and the refs were getting punched.
Oh.
I was like, eesh. it was fun to see anyway.
Yeah.
So,
It's always fun.
but yeah, it's a good team, good organization. I met with the owner there a couple times. Super nice guy. It's good to have that here locally. They're starting an arena football league here too.
I heard
Or
about
not
that.
league, but a team.
Yeah.
And I believe they're going to be playing at the
Isn't that
State Fair.
The Southwest Center, right?
Yeah, at the State Fair.
Yeah.
So
That'll be cool to see.
definitely.
I know a lot of those guys on the hockey team are not from Pueblo or the U.S.
No, a lot of them are from. At least we had some of the team in. A lot of them from Michigan, Minnesota. Yeah, there's probably some from other countries as well. But yeah, it's like I'm not exactly sure how it all is done, but it's kind of like a minor league of hockey. I'm not sure. A lot of these players are trying to continue playing and then hopefully get picked up by a college.
Yeah.
From what I understand. But yeah, they have a lot of fun and the games are fun to go to.
That's what it seems like. They're just doing it for fun, and they're doing it to kind of advance their sports career.
Definitely. Yeah.
So that's cool. I like that we have that in this community. Springs has like a hockey center, but I don't think I don't know. I haven't been involved in that culture that much.
Right.
Just because I don't live there, so I know the culture here is pretty big with their hockey teams.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they get some of those games pretty packed out.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited to see how the football team does with I think they're starting in maybe the March time frame, March, April.
Okay.
From what I heard. I'm not positive. But those could be fun to go to.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it.
Yeah,
It'll be
me too.
fun.
Yep. Some more Pueblo teams.
Yeah, we need more stuff like that.
I'm trying to remember what name they went with. I can't remember. Maybe the Punishers. I don't know. The new minor league football team that's coming in. I don't know. At any rate, it should be fun.
Yeah. All games are fun to go to.
Definitely.
It's a good atmosphere. It's fun to watch people play.
Right.
And the environment, it's just, I don't know, it's contagious.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So I enjoy it. You went to school for business?
Correct. Yep. Business administration, minor communication. So just pretty general. I wasn't too positive what I wanted to do when I graduated. And so I graduated and went into like a retail management program for a department store. It's similar to Dillard's, but they're only in the Southeast. It was called Belk. They're still around. But I did that for a couple of years after we got married, and it was good. At the time, it was good money for somebody coming out of college, but the hours in retail are terrible.
Yeah.
Black Friday back then, we still opened at midnight on Black Friday, and everybody stormed the doors before all the, shopping's done online now. But when we moved out here, I was like, I might want to change careers. And so I went into banking, and I was a banker up in Springs for about 3 or 4 years before we moved down here. So yeah, a little bit of retail sales, some finance in the background, and then now I scoop ice cream.
Did you know you wanted to go into business when you went to school?
Yeah, like I said, I graduated high school, went to college, and I was like, I'm not sure what I want to do. I like business. I actually started working out of a food truck when I was 13 years old in middle school. I worked for one of my history teachers. And so I kind of learned a little bit about business that way through him and, saw how much fun he had and success he had. And I was like, well, I'll kind of learn more at the collegiate level about that. And just thought it's a good general degree to have. And, it's, I think especially coming out of college, a lot of people don't know what they want to do. You just start doing stuff and figure out what you like to do. And, it's kind of what got me to where I'm now.
So you kind of dabbled around with shaved ice cream, kind of learned the ropes a little bit. And then later down in life, you decided, hey, I'm going to kind of do my own thing.
Exactly. Yeah. So when I was just 13 years old, is kind of when I first got into it. It was a great summer job through middle school, high school, and college. I did it pretty much for 7 years, through high school and college. And then, started my career doing different things and thought it'd be fun to kind of go back into it, and kind of took off. But yeah, all combined, probably over 18 years, I've been shaving ice and doing something out of a food truck or a storefront when it comes to shaved ice or ice cream or things like that. So long time.
Yeah.
Long time. I know, I like to say, I don't know how many blocks of ice I've shaved, because we shave it by the block, so it comes out really finely. We make our own ice blocks in the store. I've shaved a lot of ice blocks over my life.
Dang.
A lot. Yeah, like I've got like a muscle in my shoulder that kind of goes out sometimes because I've, the same motion all the time pushing that ice through. But
yeah.
But yeah, it's cool to see how different experiences in your life can kind of bring you to a point where you're at, and, who knows where the next 10 years will go. But
yeah.
You
told me when I first met you, this is something I brought up, and then you kind of, what's the word? you confirm the saying, whatever it is, saying, sentence, the phrase I brought up to you. If you're gonna like go into business, it's good to get a mentor, learn the industry you want to go into, get inside that industry,
Oh,
learn
yeah.
as much as you can,
For sure.
and then go and start your own. But that's in that kind of industry you want to go
Yeah.
into.
I mean, yeah, it depends. I think that's a great way to do it. I mean, there could be someone out there that's like, wants to be an electrician or a plumber or whatever it might be. Like, go work for somebody first, like someone that's successful in it and that you want to be in their position one day and learn everything from them. And, you know, you might come across someone who's a little bit older who started a business and you kind of help them along and they train you and then they retire. You know, maybe you buy the business from them or start your own, you know, in a different part of the town or different, you know, city. I think it's a great way to do it because then you could learn all the ins and outs. You can learn the ropes, the pros and the cons. There's a lot of pros and cons to any business. But I think that's a great way to kind of figure out, is this something I want to do? Maybe not. Maybe it is. And then, you know, start getting good at it.
Yeah. I've met a few people who kind of went down the same route.
Mm-hmm.
They started off working in the industry.
Right.
They got a mentor, mentored them along the way. And then years later, they start their
Did
own
their
thing.
own.
And now they're pretty successful with it.
Yeah. I think that's, I mean, honestly, like, it's funny actually now that you're talking about that. I remember when I graduated high school, the guy I worked for, he was like, "Hey, I want to sell my business. Like, are you interested in buying it?" And at the time I was like, "No, I'm going to college. I want to get my business degree." But looking back at it now, if I would have bought that, cause he had ran it for 15, 20 years, he built that clientele. So I would have bought that, you know, from him. So that wouldn't have been a bad choice, honestly, looking back at it now. But at the time I wanted to go to college and, you know, do all that stuff. So, but yeah, you know, someone can find themselves in that position. They do something for a long time and get close with the owner or the, you know, business partner and, you know, they wind up buying it or different things like that. I think that's a huge, that is a huge, opportunity for so many people right now that a lot of people don't recognize is that there are a lot of baby boomers, you know, between the age of 65 and 75, 80, who have started some very successful businesses that are doing very well. And they don't want to see their business die because they built it. It's kind of like a kid, but they have no one to give it to. They don't have kids of their own or their kids aren't interested in that business. There are so many opportunities for people to come alongside people like that and purchase that from them or learn from them and take over. A lot of people don't realize it. There's a lot of opportunities. Just for the fun of it, not that I'm busy enough. There's even websites you can go to that are businesses listed for sale. And
That's
there's
true.
so many of them that are, there's opportunity for seller financing where you don't even have to get a loan. You literally just take over the business and then pay the owner through your ongoing sales. There's opportunities for that out there. I think so many people are, you know, interested in, you know, starting their own thing, which is great. But like if, you know, for instance, if you want to start a roofing company, like why not try and find a roofing company that has 30 years of a great reputation, you know, buy it from them and keep it going. So
Yeah.
I don't know. There's more than one ways to peel an orange, as they say, right? But yeah, that's something that I think is really interesting as well.
That's a good point you bring up because I wouldn't say always, I definitely want to get into the business world eventually in some way, shape, or form. So if that's the case, people are wanting to sell their business for someone like me or people out there who don't have the money, the
Right.
capital to buy the
Right.
business. How would they go about it with your experience having, you know, an education in
Right.
managing a business, looking at the finances,
Right.
knowing how to do evaluation? How would they go about buying it?
Yeah, you know, honestly, like if someone's like, I have $0 and I have zero experience, and then they went to someone selling their business, like, I want to buy your business. It probably wouldn't be easy to do. I'd say somebody that has $0 and they want to buy a business that they're interested in is go work for that person for years and build that reputation. Like, hey, my name's John. You know, I want to work for you and learn from you. And, you know, work for that person for several years, whatever it might be. And they, you know, really come to know you personally and really see that you have that drive and that effort. You know, then maybe they'd be like, well, you know, we know John, he's a really nice guy. You know, he does good work. We want to see our business, you know, continue. We trust that, you know, he'll continue, you know, he'll pay us for the business through ongoing sales. That's one way to do it. But another way would be, you know, if there are any funds you have anywhere, you know, having somewhat of a down payment towards something like that is potentially incentivizing to somebody. But those would be maybe some ways that I would suggest. I think the best way is just getting to know people. I mean, if there's an industry you're interested in and you really want to start that type of business, like go work for somebody, like I mentioned. Potentially, if you get lucky, you work for somebody that is older who wants to pass on the business to somebody else. There's, like I said, there's so many older people who have businesses that they just can't pass on to anybody else. I actually met with somebody months ago in a business, and I just met with them to learn from them, because they were doing some things that I really thought was pretty cool. And I met with them to learn from them. And I didn't even know it, but I learned from speaking with them. They're like, yeah, we kind of want to do this for a couple of years and, just kind of sell it to somebody, pass it off cause they were like, cause we don't have kids that want to take it over. I was like, really?
Yeah.
Kind of piqued my interest. Like I said, not that I'm not busy enough, but I mean, hey, you never know what can come about down the road. So there's a big opportunity for that. There's a lot of people who could benefit from that, I think.
How would I go about finding the capital for it? If I don't have any money,
You have no money.
here's my take on it.
Yeah.
I see a business I want to buy.
Right.
I have no education on this industry.
Right.
I just see that it's a business for sale.
Right.
Build that connection, that relationship. That's a great way to do it.
I think that's a good way. Yeah.
Just going up to them, being like, hey, I see you have this business for sale. I would like to buy it. But then there's going to come down to a few factors. If you actually are serious and you got to find the money for it,
Right.
I think you got to take a look at their actual financial statements, do the valuation, look at how much the business is bringing in, know the numbers behind it to know if this is going to still be successful or not. So that way, you know the numbers, you can take it to a secondhand, I don't know what they call it, but someone who has money
Right.
to be able to give to you to go and buy this. But I feel like it is going to come down to you knowing the numbers about the business, or else anybody with money is not going to give you the money to buy this business, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think you're referring more to like a hard money lender is what they call
Yes.
it. Certainly. Yeah. I mean, if you're looking for outside financing, you definitely have to, be prepared to offer that. But I will say that a lot of older business owners who have successful businesses that they want to maybe step away from, younger people can come in pretty quickly and, in my opinion, grow that business so fast. Like, for instance, let's say I always go back to roofing companies, so I'm just going to stick on roofing. Let's say there's been a roofing company, for the past 30 years here in Pueblo, and they've got great clientele, a lot of returning customers that do a great job, and they say, hey, we want to sell it. Someone younger comes up and they're able to buy it, however, which way they're able to do it, they buy it. Not all of them, but a lot of older business owners aren't as tech or media savvy. Maybe they don't even have a Google account. Maybe they don't have any social media. So the simple fact that you could buy this existing brand with already ongoing income and just add in a great website and add in a great Google account with great reviews and add in social media, you're going to immediately increase sales based on what you already have. So yeah, that's kind of beside the point that you mentioned. I know you mentioned understanding the finances, which I think is obviously a huge part of it. But if you're able to come across one of those businesses and they're like, hey, we make X amount of money per year, I'd almost just factor in you're going to make a decent amount more if you add in these few simple things.
So you think younger people have leverage from social media to 10x?
Compared to somebody who doesn't use it at all in a business? For sure. There's no doubt.
Do you think that would be a good pitch to go up and be like, hey, I see you guys are doing well. You want to sell your business. This is how I can, multiply the numbers on this.
Yeah, I mean, for somebody that's selling their business themselves, I'd imagine someone that's ready to retire and they've, built a great business. I think someone like that's just ready to go to Florida and they just want their, $8,000 a month check. They don't really care they care to an extent, but once they're done with the business, they just want their check, right? But I guess that'd be more of a conversation you'd have with someone that you're trying to, find financing from. Like, hey, they make X amount a year, but I know for a fact that if I add in these few little things, like we're going to increase revenue pretty quickly. I think, those are good conversations to have. But I've seen it firsthand where there's been a business around for some time and you just add in a few little things and you can double revenue. I mean, I've seen it happen myself, and it's pretty cool to see because, you kind of take a brand that's already existing, got great customers, and then you kind of inject it with a new life. There's great opportunity for that out there.
That's a good takeaway.
For sure.
I think that's very valuable for people who want to start a business. someone like myself, I've talked to business owners, including yourself, and from even just the little conversation we're having right now, it's a lot to balance. So what I would want to do, I'm good at meeting people, putting my face out there.
Sure.
It was not an issue going into your shop and be like,
Right.
hey, this is who I am, this is
Right,
what I'm
right.
doing, kind of thing. I like to think I'm a very personable guy. I can do this very confidently and have no issues with it. So my route on the business world would be like, okay, you're wanting to start this business. Well, let's figure out the plan. Let's figure out what we need. Let me figure out how we can get the money to go into the business. So like an investor kind of thing. Because I don't want to run this guy. I don't want to run this business. Too much work for me. I don't want to be able to do like the taxes, find all the licenses, the whole backbone to the business. If you're going to start this business, let me help you find the money. I'll be an investor. But we got to sit down, come up with the actual game plan so that way I can bring it to this guy who has the money.
Right.
And they'll give it to us for this opportunity.
Yeah, I guess
here.
it depends on what kind of business you're interested in helping start, For instance, like I keep talking about roofing. I have no idea how to start a roofing company. I have no idea what shingle's different from another. I have no idea. So I would be a very bad person to try and start a roofing company or potentially invest in one because I don't know anything about it. So I understand what you're saying is that you're more interested in like the finance side and like trying to help people gain access to that. But I think it's important too, whatever business industry somebody's in, that they know somewhat about it, right? Because let's say you have a business owner or someone wants to start a business like, hey, I want to start a coffee shop, but they don't even know how to make a cup of coffee. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Unless you understood that a little bit yourself, you wouldn't know if they're going to be successful at it or not. So that's just another side of the coin, when it comes to considering those different things.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Why Pueblo? Why'd you decide to start a business in Pueblo?
we actually came down from Springs to Pueblo to be closer to family. My wife's parents live here, and then we started having kids and things like that. So we came down to the area really for family, and then the food truck, just kind of took off and been here ever since. So that's what brought us to the good old Pueblo area.
What point when you had the food truck did you decide you're going to start an actual storefront?
Yeah, so it was probably, we started that truck in 2017. 2020 was a crazy year. I would say 2021 is when I really was like, all right, I want to start a store. But my wife was kind of hesitant. She was like, well, maybe not yet. Everything with Corona was kind of, it was a year after Corona. Things were still kind of crazy. So I was like, all right, if we're not going to open a store this year, I'm going to open a second food truck. So we bought another food truck, and then I did shaved ice out of one, and then I did milkshakes out of another. And then 2020, that was 2022, did that for a couple of years. I was like, all right, I'm ready to start a store now. So 2021 is really when I wanted to. We kind of delayed it a few years until we found a great location. And then we built it out. So I had a store, and then I had 2 food trucks, and then I was like, this is too much. So I sold 1 food truck. So right now I just have a store and a food truck.
So was it becoming too much of a workload, or were you making enough money to where this was the right move to take?
Yeah. You talking about having like 2 trucks in a store?
Switching from the food trucks to the store.
I'm sorry. You're asking like, did I go to a storefront for the workload balance, or what was?
So you were managing both food trucks.
Right.
And then you decided to start a storefront.
Right.
So was it the workload that made you start it, or were you making enough profits and you're like, this is the right move to take?
Yeah, the food trucks were great. I mean, I like I said, I still have a food truck now, and you can make some really good money with it. We did really well. But I started the storefront because I wanted to see what I could grow a store into, right? Like there are a few franchises that are food trucks. There's not a lot. But I wanted to open a store and potentially open more soon, and then see if I can turn it into some type of franchise down the road. So that was kind of the avenue that I chose, just to say that I've tried it and I've done it. And so that's kind of what put us into that position.
You got a great partner right next door, Snooze Mattress, who would be able to give a lot of good insight on how to franchise it.
Yeah, there's a couple doors down. But yeah, I think the next step would be to open a second location. I'd like to open a second one probably up in Springs, I think would be a good location. And then see where it goes from there.
That's kind of how it all starts, really. Start in, one town, move to the other town,
Right.
and then go from there.
Yep. Yeah. And then maybe just continue north up into Denver and, see if we could franchise it.
See what happens.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, like I said, we got kids too. So, I mean, that's, once you start a family, you start having different things going on at one time. It's, you got to juggle a lot of different things at once.
Absolutely.
Not business is, a big part of what I do, but it's only a part of who I am and what I do. And, juggling those things sometimes can be a challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. You have kind of branded it towards a franchise too, like the logo, the way the shop looks on the inside. It's all like when you walk into it, it makes you think like, am I walking into something that's everywhere? Is this...
Yeah, I know that was kind of my goal. We wanted to build a store that we could replicate and looks really nice in any city, but we also wanted to still feel really local. So we do a lot of community events, and a lot of schools come in. We do some celebrity scoop nights is what we call them. We just did a big lighting of the store, big community event. So yeah, I was kind of shooting for, I want this to look like a franchise, but still feel like a local spot. I think we did pretty well with it. I actually had someone comment on Facebook recently on one of my posts, and they're like, "Man, I'm so sad I moved away from Pueblo. I want to check out your store." And someone else commented like, "Oh no, this is a franchise. They've got them all over the country." I'm like, I had to comment like, "Nope, this is the only location in the country right now." So I think we kind of achieved our goal there of looking like a franchise, but still having like a hometown feel.
Yeah. What's your time frame? Did you ever put a time frame on yourself?
As far as like, I'd like to have my second. Oh, sorry. I would like to have my second store location, within the next year or so. I don't know what that looks like. Like I said, a big part of who I am is my family and kids and things like that. So those things can kind of change, timelines. So honestly, I did at a point kind of have like, I want to be here at this point. I think it's really good to have goals. But you kind of sometimes have to roll with the flow too. So I'm not exactly sure what the future looks like. Maybe I open a second store next year. Maybe it's in 2 years. I don't know. There's also no rush. I feel like we do a really good job with what we do, but there's also some things I can do a better job on and start perfecting before I get the second store going and potentially a few more. So, just having fun with it, taking each day as a blessing and just having fun with what we do.
How do you manage your family, the business, and everything else going on in your life?
Sometimes it's all one big thing. Sometimes the kids are in the store with me, or I like to take my oldest son to a lot of the food truck events that I do. Sometimes it's kind of commingled, which is a pro and a con, because sometimes it's fun to have your family involved, but sometimes you feel like you can never shut your brain off from business. Like your business is always at the top of your mind. And I'd say that's the biggest change from a food truck to a storefront, is that when I ran my food truck, it was from like March to September, and then it was closed, and that was it. Whereas now we have a store and it's open year round. So every day, every week, there's something top of mind with business. Whereas in the food truck, it was nice the pro for that was to kind of, make your money and then you're done. And you kind of take a break. There's no break now. So having to figure out how to handle that with kids, I think we're doing a pretty good job of it. Some days are better than others, but it's life.
What sets you apart from other competitors?
In relations to like an ice cream shop, dessert shop, I'd have to say a few of the top things would be, the creations we make. I would say the customer service people get when they come in to see us, and just our hometown feel, I think is really what sets us apart, is that, as we mentioned a few minutes ago, we look like a franchise, but so many people in the community love to come to us and hold events with us, have a food truck out. So making those personal connections with schools and different local community organizations is huge. When we started the store, I read a lot of books on Chick-fil-A. I kind of said, I want to be the Chick-fil-A of dessert shops. Anytime you go to Chick-fil-A, the service is going to be pretty good. And if you happen to have a bad experience, they're going to make it right. If you're missing your chicken nuggets, or if they didn't give you certain item correctly, they'll make it right. They'll give you a free sandwich next time. And we're the same way. Like now it's not 100 out of 100, but our goal is that every person that comes in has a great experience with us. And I think that's really what can set you apart from your competitors. Is just making sure that experience is really good every time. It's not easy to do all the time, especially when we get really busy. Sometimes our orders aren't perfect. We might have forgotten an item, but we're going to do everything we can to make it right for the people. at the end of the day, I wanted to create something that was a fun community spot for people to hang out, to bring their kids to make memories at, to have birthday parties and events, and we're doing that. So it's really cool.
The lore around Chick-fil-A is that they secretly beat their employees to make sure they have good customer service.
Yeah, something like that. They do have great employees. But, I always, when I talk to a lot of people about this, in my opinion, hopefully Chick-fil-A is not listening. In my opinion, Chick-fil-A doesn't have the best chicken sandwich.
Really?
It's a really good chicken sandwich. It's not the best. But I continue to go to Chick-fil-A because I know the product's consistent, the quality's pretty decent, and the customer service is great. So I'm going to go there 10 times out of 10 over their competitor, because their competitor, maybe the service is good, maybe it's not. Maybe they got my order right, maybe they didn't. They probably don't care if they got it right or not. Whereas Chick-fil-A, they care, and they do. And so that's kind of what I want to emulate in what we do is, we care about our product and our customer and our community.
Every time I go to Chick-fil-A, I always get that same experience. Great customer service. The order is never wrong. It's like, hi, how can I help you?
Right.
What's your name?
Right.
Never get your name wrong. I'm like, damn, Chick-fil-A.
Well, and the thing is too, like, you can drive by and it's packed out, but they're going to be as quick as they can.
Like 10 minutes, I'm in that max in the drive-thru.
They're very, very efficient.
Super.
So that's another big part of what they do. But I mean, like I mentioned, I read a few books about the founder, Truett Cathy. He passed away a few years ago. But the founder, he actually, he had like 2 different diners in Atlanta that burned to the ground. There was, different fires that happened, and he had to restart. And he tried like a buffet style restaurant, that didn't go well. And he he started Chick-fil-A by, man, I might get the story a little bit wrong, but back in the day, airlines were trying to serve, chicken breasts on flights, but they got some order of chicken breasts that couldn't fit their container. So he purchased them. He's like, I'm going to make a chicken sandwich out or something like that. And then he started Chick-fil-A. I believe it was, a good 10 to 15 years into his restaurant journey that he started Chick-fil-A. So many entrepreneurs are the same way. They start super small, maybe in an industry that's similar or a restaurant style that's similar, and they kind of fumble into what they're doing, and something one day hits them and takes off. So that's kind of and like I said, I might have chopped that up a little bit, but that's generally how Chick-fil-A started, and kind of took off from there. So
that's crazy.
I love Chick-fil-A.
I love Chick-fil-A too.
Can't beat it. I grew up, their headquarters are in Atlanta. I think their first store was in Atlanta, and I grew up like 2 hours from there in South Carolina. So
okay.
So I grew up on Chick-fil-A, from real young. So
yeah,
you can't beat it.
No, you can't. Someone who has a similar competitive edge is Cane's.
Cane's chicken's very solid. I got nothing bad to say about Cane's. They're very good. Also, their founder's a story that I followed as well. He's got a pretty cool story. So, yeah, Raising Cane's is really good. Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, very solid.
Going back to the beginning of the storefront, did you experience any setbacks when you first started this storefront?
I would say building the storefront from scratch was challenging. Because you have your set of plans and your idea specifically on what you think it might cost, and it's always more than you think. I remember, aside from costs and different things like that, trying to get the store ready for open, we were painting the walls, and I was hanging TVs, and I hung the TV on the wall, and it kind of fell off. I broke a TV. It was super stressful because we were trying to open by a certain date, and just getting everything done super quickly was really stressful. But thankfully, when we opened the doors, it was like a floodgate. The community came out and really supported what we did. So, building the store wasn't the most fun part. But then opening the doors and seeing everybody come in, that was really cool.
How did you deal with these setbacks?
Just understanding it's part of the job. It's, if there's anything about starting a store, starting a business, and really trying to see success out of it, is you got to roll with the punches. I know it's a cliche, but man, it's not if something goes wrong, it's when and how do you handle that. But it really trains you and starts to make you more comfortable. You become comfortable being uncomfortable, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Like, I know something might go wrong, but I'm going to deal with it. And you have like instances in previous years and different experiences where you're like, man, that was really tough, but I figured it out and I got through it. It's like, you keep building up on those experiences, and if anything happens down the road, like I can handle it
That's a good point.
for sure.
You have a very contagious attitude
Thank you.
towards life.
Thank
I
you.
admire it.
Thank
Is
you.
that something you've always had?
No, that's a great question. Actually, when I first started shaving ice, actually back in middle school and high school, the guy that I worked for, I was super quiet. He was like, you could talk to some customers if you'd like, but it wasn't until probably after college I started to kind of open up and become a little bit more outgoing, I would say. I don't know what changed, honestly. I think it's just, I just became a lot more confident in who I was and what I wanted to do. I kind of had a purpose. I think that's a big part of it. If you have a purpose and you know what you want to do, and you know why you're waking up every day. Not every day is great for sure, but it makes waking up a lot easier. And so social media has really helped me to kind of open up as well. Jumping on there, getting to know people online, and then seeing them in the store and having those conversations. And then just realizing, like, people. If we get 10 customers in the store, 9.9 of them are in a good mood. Like, very rarely does someone come to get ice cream and they're really mad, So thankfully I'm in an industry where we come across a lot of fun people who like to enjoy what they're doing as well. And so I think that's kind of rubbed off on me, but we try and do the same thing with our staff. Like, we try and, when we interview kids, like, we want to make sure that they're, energetic and fun, and, they're excited to, come alongside and help us. And I think that's really important too, when you have a storefront or any type of business where you're kind of passing off some of the customer relations to your staff, is like, you want to make sure that they have that same, personality that you have, or very similar to what you want your brand to represent. And I think that's, something that we've done a decent job of at the store as well.
Do you have any staff members who share like the similar ideas with you?
Yeah, we have, a lot of our staff love, I'm big on social media, on our social media pages. I love creating content, and a lot of our staff do as well now. I've kind of partnered with them and, like, given them some opportunities to create some videos and posts and things. And a lot of them like to do that as well. So, everybody's got their own skill set and things that they're particularly good at. And so we've kind of learned, what staff's good at this, and different things like that. But overall, they all do a great job.
Any staff members who have expressed interest in starting their own business?
I can't say I've come across anyone yet who said they want to open an ice cream shop, but I would love for that. I would love for someone to come along and, like I mentioned to you, like, go work for somebody and learn from them. And I love teaching people. So yeah, I'd love to get a young person in that's interested in starting their own business one day. And I love sharing my knowledge with other people. I still have a lot to learn. Like, I'm only 35 years old, so I've not learned a lot. I've got a lot yet to learn, but from what I have learned, I like to share that with other people. So I'd love for people like that to come in.
That's important. We need, like, mentors.
Sure.
For people like this.
Definitely. Yeah, I think it's really important. My biggest mentor growing up was the guy I worked for, and he taught me so much about what I do and where I'm at now. I wouldn't be where I'm at now without him. And so I'd love to pass that on to other people for sure.
Having a background in banking and going into business for, managing a business, has that helped you understand money a little better?
I would say that some people are naturally savers or naturally spenders, right? Some people make $100 and they want to spend $100. Some people make $100 and they want to save 90, right? I've always been the person that likes to save almost all the money I make. And I think that's been really beneficial to get me to the point where I'm at now. In that, when we did really well with the food trucks, I always wanted to make sure to save a lot of money because I didn't know what the next year would look like. Running a food truck, you're closed in the winter. So the money you make in the summer, it's got to last you, And so I've always kind of naturally been a saver. And so I would say it's been the same with my business. You got your personal finances, your business finances. My business finances have been pretty similar in that, we make, our revenue throughout the year, but I try and save as much as I can because I want to open that second store, or I want to, buy that next piece of equipment. And, I was in banking for a while, and I think it's good for people to have that opportunity to leverage, loans if they need it. But if you don't need it, don't use it. It's kind of always been my motto when it comes to financing and things like that. I just prefer to kind of do it on my own if I can.
There's a lot of rules about money. One specifically that comes to mind is by Napoleon Hill. if you make this amount of money, you put 10% away first
At
and you
least.
pay yourself first.
Yeah.
So what's your rule about money
As far as like saving or spending,
as far as saving?
I wouldn't say I have a specific threshold of, saving X amount of dollars. We spoke briefly early on in this conversation about like hobbies. Like I'm interested in sports. I like to play. And, one of your hobbies is this podcasting and social media. I don't really have a ton of hobbies that are expensive. And so thankfully for me, I really don't have a lot of stuff I spend my money on other than my kids. We like to take some vacations as a family throughout the year, but, it just kind of, business makes the money and I try and save as much as we can. I don't really have a threshold of what I try and put away. It's just as much as I can.
I've seen you guys spend close or more than like $1,000 when you go to Sam's Club for products. So when it comes to, your expenses and your profits, are your profits outweighing how much you're spending on product?
Yes, definitely. Yeah. I mean, any business you run, you got to make sure that the revenue's there. So, we have some pretty big receipts from Sam's or, online restaurant stores that I have suppliers through Bluebell ice cream. I spend a ton of money on ice cream. But we're also really busy in the summer. So we did the state fair this year with our food truck. The store in the summertime is super busy. Wintertime, it slows down quite a bit. Obviously it's cold outside. Kids are in school. Holidays, aren't as busy, but yeah, you gotta spend money to make money.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
How much did you guys spend on the whole holiday not opening, but holiday event you guys recently did?
I'm not exactly sure. We did a big Christmas lighting, and we actually bought a lot of those Christmas decorations last year.
Okay.
And that would have been like in January. So if you have a business, try whatever you're doing, try and do it frugally. So we bought all those Christmas decorations last January when they were on clearance. So I don't know. I'd probably guess, 300 to 500 maybe on decorations and things like that.
That's smart.
Yeah. I mean, if they, think ahead, I guess, because we were trying to think ahead to the next year. So if there's, big expenses you have coming up, maybe wait for the next sale or whenever, you can plan that out. But that's kind of how we got. I'm not exactly sure, what we spent on that. We did some social media advertising and things like that, but it was a great event for the community. So,
I saw that. It was like a line all the way outside the door.
It was packed out. Yeah, I was kind of nervous that the police would come by and they were nervous about, all the people in the parking lot. It was crazy, but it was fun. I love doing stuff like that.
Did you guys sell out any products at all?
My staff like to remind me that we sell out of certain flavors of ice cream pretty quickly, so I need to make sure to keep that in stock. But yeah, certain flavors go quicker than others. Like right now, Christmas cookies ice cream is really popular. Obviously, Christmas is next month, so certain flavors go quicker than others. But balancing the inventory with everything else, it's just another part of business. So I try and do my best to kind of pass that off to other employees who are interested in helping out in those areas, and we've got some great staff that kind of help me out with that.
That's awesome. What's a 12-month period look like as far as the income the business makes?
I'd say we probably do 70 to 80% of our yearly revenue between March and September. And then the rest of the months, they're a bit slower. So specifically for ice cream and shaved ice and the food truck, you make a good majority of your money in the summertime.
What kind of number is that for you guys?
As far as what?
Revenue.
Like a specific number?
Ballpark it.
I don't think that's something I want to answer.
That's fair. I like to ask business owners that.
Sure.
Just
Yeah, no
kind of
worries.
get I guess, an idea.
Sure.
I talked with this business owner. Obviously, he had the but similar response. Totally get it. But it's interesting to see the numbers that you can make with successful marketing and a successful plan.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point. I would say that without social media and without the focus we have on our marketing, that our revenue would be a lot less. That's for sure. So yeah, it's a huge part of, I think, any business. I don't know if I mentioned this to you when you came in the store, but I tell a lot of other people who are business owners who are interested in business that my perspective on my business is that my business is a social media company that happens to sell ice cream, right? I think if you view it that way, I'm a social media company that happens to be a roofer, and really put your focus on social media and getting your name out there. And that's what it is now. I mean, it could be in 20 years, it's a different medium probably rather than social media. It could be a different, VR, whatever it is. I don't know. But wherever the attention is now, you need to really try and focus and get your name out there. On whatever platform that is. I don't know. It could change tomorrow. But for now, we've been really heavy on, TikTok and Instagram, YouTube Shorts, Facebook, all that stuff.
Do you guys have like your own kind of YouTube channel? I mean, obviously, do you guys post anything other than little like TikTok videos on YouTube?
No, on YouTube, we've really been focusing on shorts. Post a lot of the shorts on TikTok, the videos as well. Is kind of the content we focus on. When I opened the store and I was building it last year, I did some content around building the store, painting the roof, different things like that. So depending on, the time of year and the things that we might be doing, is kind of how I focus the social media. I think it's important too, just to be authentic, I think I heard someone say, there's a lot of small businesses who are trying to be like very corporate with their social media. And a lot of, huge companies that are corporate with their social media, where a lot of people just want to see the real authentic stuff, just flipping the camera on, talking to people, things like that. I think is really important.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Are you like a Christian man, Catholic man?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Christian. Mm-hmm.
Do you like give grace to God at all for everything that's going on?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be sitting here today without, what God's blessed me with, for sure. Yeah. When we opened the store, I actually penned a Bible verse on the rafters. And I think it's really important to, keep that first of mind for me and my family. Each day I wake up and I pray and I thank God for another day, for sure.
I like that. Mm-hmm. A lot of people have told me similar things as well.
Yeah.
I agree with it. I'm not a very big religious man myself. Mm-hmm. I believe in like a higher power. Mm-hmm. I do believe in God. But it's not like a typical relationship where I'm like, I pray, or I'm like, I'm going to church every Sunday. It's more so this guy interviewed, he said, I'm in a similar boat, or I feel like I can give you some advice that will work for you. And just giving grace to God at the end of the day and just saying, hey, thank you for, this opportunity, or making these connections, being able to have the strength to wake up, edit videos, shoot a podcast, go into businesses, create those kind of connections, and just kind of chase your dreams, chase your goals.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think everybody has their, different opinions or, different ways they come to, where they're at now. Like I said, me personally, I think it's, the number one thing in my life. I certainly wouldn't be where I am today without, what God's blessed me with, and, the family I have, the wife I have. I mean, I think I've been blessed with the things I have so that I can, impact other people and really help them in their journey as well. But yeah, really big thing for me.
I was talking with this guy earlier before I came and did this show, and we shared a similar mindset. But one of the discussions we talked about was, when you're 80, what do you want to look back on and think about? Like, I guess to kind of put it more into context is chase your dreams now, so that way you're not 80 years old looking back and thinking, what if?
Yeah. And that's a big reason why I opened my storefront, actually, is because, I still do the food truck, but I could have done the 2 food trucks forever and done just fine. Like, they did really well for me. But I always had that itch. Like, what if I never open a store? Like, I want to see, what all that entails and things like that. And that's a big reason why I did, is because I didn't want to get older and be like, man, what if I would have done that? Like, what would have life looked like? And so yeah, I would wholeheartedly agree with that. Like, think of yourself as an older guy who can't move around well anymore. And like, what did you want to do? Because life is so short, you know. Could be tomorrow, God forbid one of us gets in the car and we have an accident, and that's it. You never know what tomorrow's going to look like. So, enjoy each day as a blessing, and, work towards whatever goal you have, I would say.
Yeah. I don't want to be up there in age and think about those what ifs. I'd rather do it now.
Yeah, definitely.
And chase it now and see what I can
agree.
do.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's a good mentality to have. You obviously neither of us are 80 years old, but soon enough we will be.
Yeah.
So you definitely want to, check off the things on your list that you have on there.
Yeah. Life is short, it feels, I mean, it's long, don't get me wrong, but I mean, I graduated high school 5 years ago, and I'm like, wow, that went by quick, like the snap of a
Yeah,
finger.
it goes by fast.
So yeah, it does go by fast, and it is long, but I mean, I don't want to be up there in age and think about what if I did try to make $1 million? What if I did try to pursue these financial goals of mine? Where would my life be at
Right.
this point in time, kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, whatever your goals are, I don't, and it's funny because I think over the years your goals change. Your goals can change, obviously. If but like for me, when I was younger and we were, I was single or newly married, like my goals were very different than they were at now. So I think it's something that can be fluid and something that you kind of work with as you get older and figure out what you want to do. I told people when I opened the store, I told, people that would talk to me about it, like my goal with my store and my business has never been to make X amount of dollars more or reach this X amount of revenue. Black cat walking across. But it was, I guess what I'm trying to say is I think if your main goal as a business owner is to maximize revenue, I don't think it's a bad goal, obviously. I mean, that's part of business. But if that's your main and only goal, I think a lot of things can kind of fall to the wayside. And so for me, it's always been like creating that fun experience, having fun with what I do as much as I can. And then, the revenue will follow. Going back to Chick-fil-A, I think this can kind of tie in. Back in the early 2000s, there was a competitor of Chick-fil-A. I mean, not exactly, but they both sold chicken. A place called Boston Market. I don't know if you're familiar. If you're to Boston Market, okay. There's not many left. But back in the day, there was a place called Boston Market. I don't think I ever went into one myself, but they served, they were kind of like KFC, except they served a lot of like rotisserie chickens with mac and cheese and mashed potatoes. And at any rate, the story goes, Boston Market was opening stores left and right because they went public and they got a lot of investors. And the higher ups at Chick-fil-A went to the founder and they said, hey, Boston Market's getting really big and they're going to kind of beat us to a lot of these locations. Like we need to go public as well. We need to get investors. And I think this is something that I apply to myself a lot. And the founder of Chick-fil-A said, you need to focus on getting better before you get bigger. Because if you get better at what you do, your customers will force you to get bigger. And the way I apply that in my business and what I do is that I'm not focused on trying to get super big, super quick, because I think you can have a lot of things kind of fall to the wayside if your focus is only on money and trying to grow that next thing. If you focus on being really good and perfecting what you do now, you'll be forced to get bigger eventually. It's just a matter of time.
That's a great way to put it, because in reality, that's what it all comes down to, is dialing in on your craft now, getting better, learning from trial and error,
right,
and scaling it from there.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, nobody got to the pinnacle of what they're doing without becoming really good at it, and repetition is key. And so that's probably one of my favorite business quotes over the past, couple years. Trying to get better first.
It's funny how we're mentioning these franchises like Chick-fil-A because the founder of McDonald's, I only know this because I watched the founder. I don't know how true that whole story was, but the key takeaway was these two brothers opened up McDonald's. It was just a small storefront, no franchise at that point. This guy, Ray Kroc, comes in. He sees that it's fast food, friendly environment. He's selling milkshakes door to door, business to business, and then he comes in with this milkshake machine. He sees what they're doing, and he's just like so drawn to like the fast service, the customer service, how they're doing business, and then he's like, I want to take this over and multiply it. So it's a really cool success story watching it. Have you watched it?
No, I'm not. It sounds interesting. I think I've heard of it. It was probably on Netflix. Netflix. I need to check that out. No, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it was a really good story. I'm sure there's some Hollywood to it.
Sure.
With all, docuseries like those. But overall, it was definitely a good movie to watch.
Yeah, I need to check that out.
One of those good entrepreneurial stories.
Definitely. Yeah, I have to check that out.
In school, did they ever teach you about like stocks, bonds, markets?
Yeah, I was a little bit interested in that, in high school and college. Took some classes on it. Nothing too in depth. But, basic understanding, and obviously I, do a good job myself investing what I can.
What kind of basic stuff did they teach you?
Just the basics of stock markets and, P to E ratios and different things like that. I mean, being 14 years removed from graduating college, it's not a lot. I still spend a lot of time on, we have, different investments across different companies that we kind of let them manage for me. But I don't know, nothing super detailed, I guess, that comes to the top of mind.
Is it very similar when you're looking at a stock compared to when you're looking at a business and you're trying to see if this is going to be a good route to actually invest
probably.
into?
I mean, honestly, I've never invested in an outside business, so I can't say specifically, but I'd imagine, those same skill sets will carry over. Certainly if you're super interested in analyzing stocks and, understanding, different, ratios and things that go into that, then I think that's something that could be easily transferable to analyzing a business statement and things like that.
Yeah, I've always been interested in markets,
Sure,
numbers, that kind of thing. So it's always interesting to look at.
Sure.
And go from there. I haven't done anything myself.
Sure.
Right now, in the future, maybe.
Right.
That also requires work and dedication to put into it, but it's always been something I've been interested in.
Yeah, I mean, as far as investing goes, I mean, if you're not, and inflation's so crazy, that if you're not investing something, like you're losing money so quickly year over year. I mean, even since 2020, I mean, you remember years ago when everybody was getting stimulus checks and things from the government, and I don't know, the price of gold now has got to be, I think it's over $4,000 now. I mean, it's back in around Corona, around 21 or 22, it was like 1,800 an ounce, and now it's over $4,000, so it's over doubled. I mean, people don't invest in gold to grow their money, but it's like an insurance against the dollar. And so I think that just speaks to, how much the dollar's lost in value over the past 3 or 4 years.
They discontinued the penny recently.
What?
They discontinued the penny. They're not going to make pennies anymore.
Is this breaking news?
Within the past 3 weeks.
What?
It's because it's more money. It's crazy.
I've got to look this up. This is nuts.
It takes, I might be wrong, but it takes 3 cents to make a penny.
Wow.
So they're like, it's costing too much to make a penny.
So the real story here is hold on to your pennies because they're going to be a collector's item.
Yeah. I mean, there's certain pennies now that they're making currently that after these pennies are done and made, they're going to be worth millions of dollars.
There's it's been a while. When I was in banking, I was a lot more interested in finance and understanding money. And it's still something I'm interested in. I don't have much time now to really spend on it. But I feel like that's another way to if you get rid of the penny, right, then you have to raise prices on everything. Because you can't sell not on everything, but you can't sell something for $9.97 anymore. Mm-hmm. Right? As a business owner, right? If I sell something for $9.97, I either have to sell it now for $9.95 or for $10. Well, I'm not going to sell it for $9.95, so I'm going to raise my price to $10. Mm-hmm. So I think it's going to be another way that companies and businesses raise prices if there's no more pennies, right?
That's a interesting way to look at it. I've never thought about it that way, but I have seen the changes that they're making at Loaf and Jug and all these different convenience stores. They're like, well, since they're discontinuing the penny, now we got to kind of switch up how we give out change.
Interesting.
So yeah, it was.
So you've already seen it here locally.
I've seen some changes going on. You can't get back. They're not going to give you pennies anymore. They're going to give you back this change.
Interesting.
Kind of thing.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to look into that. That's something else.
I was shocked to see that. I was like, the penny's been around. I guess it was started circulation back in the 1800s.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then, which is crazy, it was way before Abraham Lincoln was actually on the penny.
Oh, really?
They started making pennies.
That's crazy.
Which I found was kind of crazy too.
So then, in how many years do they get rid of the nickel? Because I guess they're going to nickels now, right? So then it'll be dimes?
That's kind of my thought process too.
Now, the fact that we still actually have cash is crazy. Because when I was a banker from 2013 to almost 2017, and even back then, that was 12 years ago, they were like, hey, we're, soon enough, there's not going to be cash anymore. Everything's going to be digital. We still have cash, though. It's crazy. I don't know when that goes away. I guess maybe never. I don't know.
Do you think they'll ever get rid of the dollar bill?
I don't know. I mean, 12 years ago, they said we're going to be a cashless society, but here we are still with cash. So I don't know.
That's true, but they've made small steps to kind of
Yeah, I mean,
go about it.
Apple Pay and
Yeah, tap to pay.
cryptocurrency,
Yep.
things like that certainly have made strides in that area. But yeah, I don't know. Be interesting to see.
What about like the dollar bill being useless? A few people have told me like cash is useless.
Well, I mean, as far as like, if you have $100,000 in the bank, it'd be easier or it'd be better to have that invested somewhere because, with inflation, you're losing money on your deposits. Being a banker for some time, I had a lot of older people with a lot of money and they, just left it sitting there. And it's like, well, you could put it in this very safe investment and make 2% a year, whatever it might have been back in the day. But yeah, I mean, whether you're investing it or buying, investing in a business or, buying another asset that's valuable. I mean, I mentioned a few minutes ago about gold. Like I'm not a huge gold investor. I mean, I have a little bit, but it's like, if you would have bought X amount of ounces of gold a few years ago, you would have, doubled your money, things like that, rather than just having it sitting under your mattress. So I don't know. I'm not an investor, I'm not a financial advisor, so I don't take anything I say to heart. I'm just saying, I think that's kind of the point of saying that cash is useless, but sometimes cash is king. Sometimes it's important to be liquid too, because you come across that business opportunity. You're like, well, I do have X amount of dollars. I can buy that business, or I could, invest in this. So, you got your long-term investment money, and then you've got your short-term investment, and you need to have some liquid too.
There's pros and cons to both. There's people that still only take cash and people that are doing cash and digital payments. So
yeah, I mean, as far as like actually, the physical activity of taking cash or card, I mean, yeah, I think you'd have to take both nowadays. Otherwise you're missing out on money. I've seen some food trucks at events and they only take card, and I'm like, well, there's a lot of people who only have cash. You're going to lose some sales. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Being a banker, what is it that you did as a banker?
I did a lot of business loans. I did a lot of home equities for people. I focused on like, lines of credit and things like that. Back then though, I mean, man, rates were so low. I mean, people were buying houses at like 2.8%. Home equities you could do for like 0% for 8 months. I mean, it was nuts. It was basically free money. So it was the time for real estate. It was the time for sure.
So that was in Springs. What years of that for you?
2013 to about 2017.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're still, 12 years ago.
Okay.
That's crazy. But yeah, I mean, obviously interest rates are a bit higher now, so it's not as quick for people to get loans and things like that.
Yeah.
So.
Is it more for like the older generation to go to a bank and have them invest their money for them?
I don't know. I think maybe it depends on the person's personal experience. Because, when I was a banker, I helped a lot of older people with their money and, different insurance annuities or investment types and things like that. And some people are more conservative than others. I can say too, as you're older, you do need to be more conservative because you don't want to risk, whatever money you have left for retirement. You can't put it into a volatile stock or investment. So, as you get older, I think your priorities change, not just with your money, but in everything. So
that's a good point. I mean, I have a bank account. I don't do any investments with them.
Sure.
But I have it just because you need it for W-2s and everything else.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And people start small, and then see where it ends up.
I like that. It's a good key takeaway.
Really enjoyed being on the podcast.
Well, thank you for coming on. Yeah, I appreciate it. I feel like we kind of dove into a lot of good topics. You gave a lot of great advice.
Thank you. Yeah, I try and do the best I can. Like I said, I don't know it all, but I've learned a few things over the years, and I got a lot more to learn.
Absolutely.
So,
if you ever think you have stopped learning, you've just reached a weird plateau in your life.
Yeah, I'd agree. It's always good to learn and try and grow as much as you can.
You got to keep learning as much as possible, especially at my age.
Right.
I'm so young. There's so much I got to learn about doing a podcast, money, finances, investments, stuff that aligns with my goals that I have no clue on. I'm just kind of learning along the way.
Definitely. Well, it's a good place to start. Who knows what the next 5 or 10 years look like?
Yeah, I hope it is like prosperity and very generous, but also some setbacks and challenges. I'm going to have to learn to overcome.
Definitely. That's just part of learning.
Absolutely. Where can they find you, Andrew?
Yes, business pages would be Shiver and Shake CO on Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. I'm trying to think of all of them. Yeah, Shiver and Shake CO.
Awesome.
Yep.
This is Andrew right here. Check out the store in Pueblo West, Shiver and Shake. They got the best ice cream, milkshakes, shaved ice, all of Colorado. They're putting a twist on these milkshakes. You got to check them out. If you don't have diabetes, you might get diabetes coming to this. But do it, what is the word? Diligently, carefully.
There you go.
I'll say that carefully because it's a lot of sugar that you are going to be consuming, but it's so good. It's so good. Who doesn't want a cheesecake on top of their cheesecake milkshake?
Everybody.
Everybody does.
wants it.
That's like when you look at the menu, that's what gets your eyes is like these decorations on top of the shakes.
Top seller.
It's great. I love it. My name's Xander. Of course, you can follow me everywhere: TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, The All In Show, all platforms. Tune in, subscribe. More to come. Peace out.